Okay, so with that, we complete another one of the Leviathan missions, and we've rescued Anne. However, that's not enough. She has perhaps a little more information, is the first expert we've actually been able to really consult about the Leviathan, but not yet had the time to dig into the details with her, and I'm afraid, of course, there's a whole foul news we had to lay on her with the whole, your father is dead thing. And Bryson offers the only chance to track down the Leviathan, meet her on the Citadel to gain her help. Okay. And we can check to see if our squad mates have anything to say about the previous mission. They actually did last time, for the most part. So I feel as though that might be the case here as well. Some of them, not all of them. At least not Joker.
Commander?
But everyone else, I think, did.
I have formulated a psych profile for Dr. Anne Bryson. She is not used to death, but she may be quite capable under stress.
How can you possibly figure that out after having just met her?
How's the ship holding up, Edie?
The envelope of mass-free space we create when we travel at FTL limits any impact of micro-collisions with ambient dust. Nevertheless, some ablation does occur
Oh, we've
at
heard this one.
subluminal speeds.
I think we've heard
Normally
this
will
one.
need maintenance before the year is out.
I mean, if we live that long, I will totally spring for it.
Okay, so let's head down and see if other squad mates have other things to say about Dr. Bryson, that mission in general. So, fortunately, for the most part, I think we went through quickly enough that we did not have to concern ourselves too much with getting bombarded by the harvester projectiles. But if we had been a little more slow about doing things, then that may not have been the case.
I heard you had to break the news to Anne about her dad. I'm sorry, Shepard. So brutal what happened to him. Can't imagine what she's going through. Hey there.
Hey. Yeah. Anyone in here? Not the case. Garrus. What about you? I think we determined that it is very unlikely that Dr. Chakwas will have anything to say on this topic. We may just skip her altogether.
I can handle the Reapers that run around, or the ones that crawl, or the ones that shuffle menacingly toward you, but it's the flying ones that give me the creeps.
That's interesting coming from Garrus. Because technically, the Turians are at least the closest species, what is the technical classification? Is it class? On Earth that correlate to the Turians would be birds. They are bird-like. They are raptors of sorts, I believe. Kind of, sort of, maybe, a little bit, sort of. But, so for Garrus to be not so good with the flying Reapers is kind of ironic for that reason.
So who needs their ass kicked now?
Well, possibly this Leviathan thing. But we're still hoping that, despite it doing the whole mind control-y thing, maybe, since it apparently took down a Reaper at some point, we might be able to ally with it somehow? Some way?
What is it with you and rescuing scientists from dig sites that have been overrun by hostile forces? If you decide to help her take down the Shadow Broker, I'm going to be jealous and somewhat concerned.
Don't worry about it, Liara. Don't worry about it. You did it. You did it first. We'll give you the credit. Excuse me, sir. Can we actually speak to you? Hold on. Oh, I did not remember that being a thing. Just salutes you. Okay, engineering. Suspect Javik certainly may have something to say about that. Haulers probably less so.
Commander.
Yeah. Javik, what did you think about the Leviathan information that we kind of sort of gathered, but for the most part we just encountered Reapers?
If Leviathan is a defector,
A Reaper that broke away from the others? Then it is also a traitor. And traitors are never to be trusted, even among the enemy.
But an enemy of my
If they can
enemy is my
betray
friend.
their own kind, imagine what they can do to you.
He does have a point, though. They're bold enough to defect from the Reapers, then that does not bode well for what they can do to us.
The crew seems to enjoy staring at me.
I mean, the aura, I could definitely see that.
Commander.
I was just thinking about the Banshees. The Asari are so beautiful. And to see that done to them.
The Reapers have done the same to most intelligent species they've encountered. Humans, Batarians, Turians, and even Krogan have been modified into Reaper foot soldiers.
But not Quarians.
No, the Reapers have not encountered your people in significant numbers.
You don't think it's because of our weakened immune systems?
No.
I just assumed we weren't useful.
Quarians are intelligent, adaptable, and technically adept. You would make excellent Reaper soldiers.
ED?
Thanks, ED. I think.
Tally, the Normandy has benefited greatly from your work, and your people are providing vital support in the war effort.
We wouldn't be doing as well without the Geth. And we wouldn't be doing as well without you.
Thank you, Tally.
Oh. Sort of wholesome. If you can look past the part where Edie was theorizing Tally and the rest of the Quarians getting turned into Reaper forces. But yeah. Fortunately, we've not seen any Reaper-fied Quarians. At least not thus far. So, hopefully it stays that way. Okay, then let's head down to the shuttle bay to check in with Cortez and James, see if they have anything to say.
If another harvester keeps me from dropping you off in the target LZ, so help me.
Esteban, don't let those oversized roaches push you around.
Mr. Vega, taking on a sky full of worm necks and a troop transport is like sending you against the Earth invasion armed with brass knuckles.
What, you don't think I could do it?
I mean, maybe you could take down a cannibal or two, but taking down harvesters, destroyers with brass knuckles? No, James, I'm sorry. I don't think you're gonna pull that off.
Doesn't hurt to go over the weapon roster one more time.
Okay. Let's see what James has to say about it.
I don't know the scientific measurement of a shitload, but that seemed like a shitload of harvesters.
I mean, he's not wrong. Okay, so as I said, technically speaking, we did rush through that mission a little bit, and so we could have potentially missed out on some things. We go to check at Spectre Requisitions. Doesn't look like we missed any items, because this Rosenkopf material Greaves here, that was here previously. So we missed that in a prior mission. No items, at least, that we missed this time. We might have missed out on, say, some sources of credits or things like that, but in the interest of not getting obliterated by the harvesters, we sped things up a little bit. But, you know, for that reason, I think it was... We knew we were making that sacrifice, and I think it was perhaps a sacrifice worth making. Anything from Trainer? No. Okay, so let's head back to the galaxy map. And we've explored everything here. However, we still have, I believe, the relay system does have one asset that we've not yet recovered, and it is one that is on a planet. And oddly enough, I think we tried... Ooh. When did we do? Which one did we do previously? Was it Asale? Or was it Jonas? I don't remember, and I should. Hold on, if I read the description, maybe I will recall. I feel like I did it on Jonas?
I found something.
Okay, there we go. Because, yeah, this system gets flooded by Reapers very quickly. Fortunately, we found it this time. It's here somewhere. And it will be a Jovian dissertation? Okay. Apparently that's a war asset. Oh, only 50% recovered. Wow. So that's not everything. That's just one of two things here. Hold on. Oh, is that the relay? Might have been the relay. For a second I thought that was something in the middle of nowhere. So we definitely have already scanned Jonas. That means there's something elsewhere here. Did I just hear it? Yes. I think the Reapers are about to invade, but we have the fuel, so we're back up to full, and now we just sprint for this, and we run. And our evasion was successful. So now we head back to the Citadel, and we hope that we never need to return to the Pylos Nebula. It's 100% explored, so we shouldn't need to, in theory. Okay, so we're heading back to Dr. Bryson's lab, is the plan, where we're expecting to meet up with Anne Bryson. Cool dinosaur fossil. If it's not a dinosaur, I will refuse to acknowledge the fact that it is not a dinosaur. It is a dinosaur in my book.
Anne, are you here? Anne?
Oh, Commander. Yes, I'm sorry. Just... this is hard.
Yeah, I mean, we did kind of just break the news to her right off the bat that her father was dead. Didn't really have any warning for that. She had no reason to suspect that he was going to get murdered by his lab assistant.
Of course. Are you all right?
Yes. No. I don't know. My father and I didn't leave things in a great state.
Oh.
An argument?
Yes. It was trivial. A disagreement on how to file some of the specimens. I was mad about something else. I don't remember what. And I took it out on him. So stupid.
This sounds like the kind of thing that we don't really have a stake in this. We're kind of just intruding on your own personal relationship.
It's all right. I can come back.
No, please. I'm okay. Seeing all this again. He was so obsessed. Crazy sometimes.
I didn't get a chance to know him.
Oh, sometimes I felt the same way. He was a great man. A pioneer. But he could be distant. I felt like an inconvenience growing up.
You sound angry.
I was angry. Still am, I guess. But sometimes, he was so full of stories, he nearly burst. I love that about him. It's why I signed up for this work. I can't believe he's gone.
We'll figure this out.
We have to. I need to know what's on the other end of that artifact. What he died for.
I mean, that's what we're here for. So let's make it happen.
We need your help. You're our last chance.
You're right. Let me dig into my father's work to see what I can find.
Anne, you sure you're up for this?
Yes. When Leviathan took control of me, I remember being somewhere cold and dark.
That's what the other people said.
But my father taught me to never be afraid of the dark.
Okay. Well, let's head downstairs then. I don't think there's anything else for us to do up here. And hopefully Anna's okay. I mean, in some ways you could make the case that maybe perhaps it's a little bit therapeutic, getting the chance to work on and hopefully see through the project that her father was putting so much time and effort into. But there are some things, of course, that the only thing that can heal him is just time. And it is still quite raw.
I'm still amazed your father got his hands on a piece of a Reaper.
He was so excited. Your claims validated years of work.
Did you take appropriate steps to prevent indoctrination?
Of course. It was completely shielded, and we all had regular psych evals. But now, thanks to the artifact, I'm indoctrinated anyway, aren't I? Might as well be a Arachnite drone waiting for orders from the Queen.
And let's be honest, maybe. She might be right about that. Okay. I assume we're just looking to talk to Anne and there isn't anything else for us to do in the lab. Obviously, we've been here many times before.
You studied the Rachni?
I wrote my dissertation on them. My father thought it was a waste of time, but now it might actually help us understand Leviathan.
In what way?
We think of the Rachni as telepathic, but there's really no such thing. At short range, the Queen uses pheromones to give orders. At long range, she uses an organic kind of quantum entanglement communicator.
Whoa.
Whatever Leviathan does must be similar, entangling particles to stimulate neural activity. It uses the artifact to establish a connection, and then it controls the mind of anyone near it.
And we also saw some Rachni research here when we were first searching for Dr. Garneau, so that makes sense.
Hey, loco. Need a hand?
Okay, so we can talk to Anne. However, we can also chat a bit here with James beforehand.
What brings you down here, James?
Heard you're closing in on the Reaper killer. Anything that can scare those bastards has to be worth a look.
That's what I'm hoping.
Just chilling right next to the Huskhead.
Commander, you see this thing? This is great.
Sure about that, James?
Hey, Edie. Husk bites, they don't turn you into a husk or anything, right?
I recommend you apply Metagel.
Just in case.
Hey, if nobody claims this thing, we could take it with us. You know, for research or, I don't know, whatever.
You sure we want it? I mean, we can deliver it to our cabin if we'd like. It's an option. I suppose we'll take it, even if it is perhaps extremely obnoxious.
All right, just don't tell anybody.
Nice. You think Esteban will let me set up bowling pins in the cargo bay?
I mean, knowing Cortez, probably not, no. But anyways, that's all a bit of an aside. Also, what is this on the table? What are you looking at? Because that looks like an awful lot of skulls and other bones.
We didn't detect any energy emissions from the artifact.
But the Reapers were able to use the artifact to trace Leviathan somehow.
My theory is that most of the time, the artifact simply acts as a receiver. We'll only be able to trace Leviathan through it when it actively takes control of someone.
As it did on the asteroid.
Right. Unless it needs something, Leviathan doesn't bother communicating. I guess it and my father had something in common.
Oh, harsh.
You said Leviathan's control was similar to a quantum entanglement communicator, which is untraceable.
Yes, but this isn't a natural QEC. Leviathan has to send a pulse through the artifact to alter your mind and create the quasi-QEC effect.
And that can be traced.
Right. Just like at the dig site. The Reapers were tracing the signal by activating the artifact. My father wanted to be at that dig site. He was getting too old for long digs, but he hated being stuck in the lab. He nearly missed my graduation because he was on a dig. Showed up still wearing his field gear. God, he'd have hated dying here.
Okay. Well. Okay then. On that note,
Anne, I know this is hard, but if there's anything more you can tell us.
I don't think there's anything more I can tell you. But maybe I can show you.
What are you saying?
The artifact only sends out a signal when Leviathan's controlling someone.
I don't like where you're going
so
with
that
this.
It control me. You could trace the signal.
I don't like where you're going with this.
You mean let it take you over? That's too dangerous.
It's my call, not yours. You said I'm your last
sure about
chance
that?
to find this thing.
We have no idea what will happen.
If we wait, the Reapers will get to Leviathan first. I'm the only one here who's spent enough time with it to do this. You're looking for something to fight the Reapers, Commander. I'm looking for the monster that murdered my father.
We still don't know what we're looking for.
Then let's find out.
Commander, this thing we're doing with Anne sounds dangerous as hell.
Noted. Edie?
Energy signature locked in. Waiting for activation.
Okay. So maybe we can talk her out of it, but she does seem really determined.
You sure about this?
Yes. I'm sure.
I'm gonna be right here.
Okay. I'm ready.
James, drop the containment shield.
Shield is dropped.
Artifact online.
Anything?
Nothing yet. Wait. There's something. I feel a chill.
Edie?
No trace yet.
Holy hell!
Signal is tracking. Maintain connection.
Turn back. The darkness can't be breached.
Yo!
Maintain connection.
Listen to me. I found you, and the Reapers are right behind me.
You have brought them.
You are a threat.
So are you. I've seen what you can do. The war needs you.
There is no war. There is only the harvest.
Edie, do we have enough?
Partial lock. Maintain connection to narrow the search.
You heard her. We got enough. I'm hitting the shield.
We can stop them
Do it.
if we want to, but we won't.
Man,
Because that did not look good. Are you okay?
Anne, are you all right?
Yes. I think so.
Did we get anything?
Yes, but it will take some time to search. Coordinates sent to the Normandy.
Good. It's a start.
Commander, I sense something else. Anger.
It knows we're getting close.
I think it wants to kill you.
That doesn't surprise me.
Let's get you some help.
Okay, so got a little bit of Paragon points and a journal update here. So what we've learned is that there would appear to be 3 potential locations for what we expect to be perhaps the Leviathan itself. Everything up to this point has been sort of a stepping stone toward the Leviathan, but this has certainly been our best hint yet. And once again, much like we saw previously in other times when we were searching for Dr. Garneau and Dr. Bryson, with the set of different options we could potentially have either settled for a very broad search where we know the general area where the person we're looking for might be. However, we don't know specifically, and so it might take a little bit of trial and error when we're exploring. However, with the more filters, we could refine that to the point where we knew exactly where said thing was. This time, similarly, we had the option of using a renegade interrupt to continue to have Anne get mind-controlled by Leviathan and give Edie more time while this is happening to track down where the Leviathan might be. I deliberately did not do so. Of course, it's a renegade interrupt, so if you're playing a renegade playthrough, then perhaps you'd consider doing so. But I deliberately did not this time. And you know, I won't go to spoiler territory, but let's just say there might be a little bit more at stake there as well. So that means it will take a little more exploration this time compared to the other times, but we've generally explored all the systems anyway for tracking down war assets and stuff like that, so don't think it should be too much of a downside for us anyway. So now that we're done here for the moment, it seems, in the lab, we could head back over to see if there's anything that we particularly want to do on the Normandy. Like, do we have anything we want to purchase at the Presidium Commons? I mean, there are some of those weapons that we've said are, theoretically, some of them are actually very good. Some of them are quite good in more niche circumstances, so if you use them in the right situation, they could be quite effective. But for the most part, we have our simple, universally applicable Typhoon and stuff like that. So it just hasn't been all that urgent. Maybe we just do head back to the Normandy now. Okay, so now that we're done in the lab, let's take a look at our quest update here. Leviathan scan locations. ED has marked possible locations for the Leviathan on the galaxy map. Scan the locations and find Leviathan. So as I was saying, we don't have an exact spot, but we have a general idea of where it might be. And I know it is not on the Citadel. So let's get out. And let's see. It's actually in a place that it appears as though we have already been. Sigurd's Cradle, because we've explored 44% of it, but presumably that means that once upon a time we'd explored it in its entirety, and the remaining 56% is a new area or new set of clusters that we've not, or systems that we've not yet explored within here. Unless there's entirely different and new areas that are also lighting up that I just did not initially see, but I don't think that's the case. That's obviously the Citadel and where we currently are for the other missions on the Citadel, but no. Looks like it is just in that one cluster, the Sigurd's Cradle cluster. So let's head over. Okay. Yeah, Skepsis, we've been here before. The course, also 100% explored. Okay. Yeah, so we have several spots. Psi Tophet. Leviathan could be there. We also have over here, Linal. Leviathan could be there as well. And then maybe one down here, too? Somewhere? Yeah, Mill. That also is a potential Leviathan location. So, I mean, we'll take them one at a time, I suppose. And as I said, we're probably looking to explore them all anyway, for the sake of tracking down other war assets or whatever else it might be in these areas, so still reason. Check them all out. Okay, and we're kind of hoping these are small, though. So, let's see. We'll start on the outermost planet, and then we'll work our way in. And that outermost planet is Terapso. A hydrogen-helium gas giant with an abundance of nitrogen in its atmosphere, Terapso was notable because of its independence from the government of Shalkos, as well as from any other governing body. As a result, its colonized moons and orbital stations overseeing the helium-3 recovery were neutral meeting grounds for all manner of deals between Terminus governments, warlords, or crime figures. Reapers appear to have cursily bombarded many of the moons and machinery here. It is possible there are survivors. No plans exist detailing the extensive tunnel networks that were under the moon's surfaces, but it is likely that without rescue or food shipments, any inhabitants will soon die off. So that's a little grim. Not often you see settlements on the more distant planets where there isn't really... Oh, sneaky. Where there isn't an actual planet that you can stand on, it's a gas giant, but orbital stations to harvest materials. Mylassi's just hiding here in the asteroid belt. A siliceous asteroid. Silicus? No. Silicaceous? No, it's not siliceous. Mylassi is rich in olivine and pyrocene. The Asari colonizing Chalkos set up habitats on Mylassi mostly to oversee a large-scale project in which smaller asteroids would be flown to Chalkos. There, the olivine would be recovered and used in sequestering the planet's carbon dioxide. As with many Asari projects, this was expected to take decades or centuries before generating an appreciable effect on the planet's climate, but because the Asari lived for around 1,000 years, no problem. They're fine working from that time horizon. The station here has been bombarded by the Reapers. Interesting. The other one we were talking about just got a very minor bombardment. The effects on the integrity of the asteroid is unknown, but it does not appear to be breaking apart just yet. But it sounds like it may be imminent. Okay, anything else hiding in here? Don't think so. Oh, look at this. 2 planets right next to each other. Might mean that Chalkos we've heard a lot about. Oftentimes we'll see this is actually a moon satellite next to its parent planet, but this looks huge comparatively speaking. Start with Chalkos. Chalkos is notable for being one of the few garden worlds in the Milky Way that is also part of a binary planet system. Oh! Both it and its heavenly twin, Selvos, are in a stable orbit with one another, in addition to orbiting the star Mil. Chalkos' greenhouse gases lead to a hotter climate than Earth, and the solar eclipses caused by Selvos, while common, are not frequent enough to be a good solar shade. This did not prevent a colony from springing up, largely Asari and their varying species of mates. It was far from an idyllic settlement. Like many Terminus worlds, it was rife with farmers growing psychoactive substances, armed gangs with genetic engineering that would be illegal in council space, but aside from the maddening heat and photo period, it was quite inhabitable. Reapers turned Chalkos into rubble. Yikes. Emergency broadcast caught in the light cone coming from the planet indicates that the Reapers used ground forces to invade and spent little time harvesting. As they departed, the Reapers bombarded the planet from orbit either because they needed to reinforce another front quickly or had gathered the data on genetic engineering they needed. Do we see how many people lived here before the invasion? Usually we do, but not seeing it here. Temperature 57 degrees Celsius. Yeah, that is quite hot. But yeah, usually we'd see the population, and so we could say like, oh yeah, understandable that the Reapers tried to attack this place. There's 300 million people here. Selvos, maybe we'll learn more about this. Chalkos' binary twin is a barren world that's always seemed like a better terraforming prospect than it is. Its temperatures are quite tolerable for sapient life, and its gravity is suitable for retaining a thick atmosphere. Its location, close to Chalkos, makes for a tempting investment. 2 garden worlds so close together would benefit from mutual trade and, if nothing else, tourism due to their near-unique status. However, Selvos has minimal water. Early attempts at creating a hydrosphere met with slow progress that only Chalkos' Asari could love, because it takes so long. The deaths of the colonists on Selvos and Chalkos have dashed any hope of terraforming in the near future. Selvos is now a wasteland of punctured, domed habitats, and its orbital stations are slag. The Reapers have moved on. Once again, no info as to what extent there might be any people there. I mean, it sounds like in this case, there was theoretically interest in creating a colony, but it hadn't yet materialized. Then we have Lysier. And with this, so it's a low-density world, notable for its appearance in Asari Ploitation Hollow, Blue Steel, one of humanity's first attempts to market entertainment galactically. The promotional campaign assured viewers that it was filmed on location in the most dangerous section of the galaxy, the Terminus systems. In fact, the cast and crew were relatively safe, occupying a space station that orbited the unremarkable, lifeless planet. The Seer space stations housed a largely Asari crew teleoperating robo-mining of uranium. When Blue Steel was released, also that's the name of a a look for Zoolander. And let's see. So after it was released, human audiences still thought of this as an exotic profession. Today, it would induce yawns. The Reapers have destroyed the orbital stations around Lysir and have moved on. It is not known if anyone managed to escape.
Ooh, yikes. Okay. Okay.
Then we have Akraya. Tidally locked to its parent star, Mil, Akraya, is a small rock planet that never bore much development due to the Asari on Chalkos and Selvos having limited resources and instead focusing their efforts on more welcoming worlds. Old scans indicate that it may have an abundance of nickel. Alright, well, I think if we're talking about scanning here, I'm definitely intrigued by Chalkos plus Selvos. That's... Oh, here's something here as well? Is that not one of the planets? Was that something independent from the planets? Maybe. The other thing was over here, this little guy, Lassie. That seemed tempting too. So why don't we try hitting you? Yep. How quickly do the Reapers invade? Not at all? That's encouraging. Okay, so let us see what this is all about then. Husk neural map? What? Okay, that's an interesting war asset in that case. Okay, so 50% explored. That would suggest there's just one more thing in here, and it is probably some fuel located in the middle of nowhere somewhere. Technically, if truthfully the Reapers are not going to invade at any point in time here, then we could just go absolutely crazy and non-stop scan here. There is generally the rule of if there is a mission in a system, the Reapers will never invade. Otherwise, you might just never get the chance to finish that mission. And we don't know which system and which planet we are going to get this mission on. So I wonder if maybe, given how we did not refine our search further, does that mean we get free Reaper free scans in all three of these unexplored areas? Maybe. Maybe there actually is that benefit to it. I'm not entirely sure. I'm tempted to scan my Lassie if we don't hear any sounds elsewhere. Which I'm not sure that I have. Don't think I did. So yeah, let's scan it. And it is. Yup, okay. So double planet. Double planet assets. Means maybe something other than fuel, maybe something more valuable to us, perhaps. Search unsuccessful. Scans of the planet's surface show no evidence of Leviathan's energy signature. Continue your search. Oh.
No sign of Leviathan at these coordinates.
Or it's just precisely nothing. Like that. Alright, so let's carry on then. And let's go Linal next. Okay. So next system up, we have Nutus. Nutus is a hydrogen-helium gas giant with high nitrogen content. It had several colonized moons. Nutus's moon Etrat was home to the small-time Terminus Systems warlord Rostek Chas. Sounds like a Batarian, maybe? Who extracted tribute from the colonists on Triginta Petra and any travelers stopping by to refuel on Helium-3. Rostek's small navy appears to have fled to safer pastures in advance of the Reaper invasion. We keep on hearing about these colonists on these planets, and we're never getting numbers in terms of, okay, how many people were there? Curious. Choitatix. A dwarf planet, Choitatix is notable for gold deposited by an asteroid strike that, geologically speaking, happened fairly recently. By that, we mean only 20 million years ago. Surveyors suspected Troitatics was once larger, but was reduced in size by the strike, which knocked enough material out of the planet to create misshapen moonlets. Its name, which means gap-toothed, in a common Turian language, was retroactively added once scientists confirmed this hypothesis. It appears the pulverized orbital stations here were abandoned as a preemptive move before the Reapers reached the cluster. The fate of the refugees is unknown. If they fled to Triginta Petra, the outlook is particularly poor. Sounds like that planet might have gotten hit really hard. This is it, Triginta Petra. A low-density planet in comparison to Earth, Triginta Petra is also drier, with wide land masses that are largely desert. Its dextrocurality, native life, has yet to make it out of the oceans, primarily producing cyanobacteria, which provide a limited amount of oxygen in the atmosphere. And dextro amino acids, I think that's Turians and Quarians, rather than humans and Asari and everyone else, in terms of the biological structure. A handful of Turians colonized the planet, yep, that would explain the Turian colonization, and attempted to introduce land plants. Their chief hurdle was the lack of good topsoil, which required imports and sophisticated farming practices to overcome. The farmer's maxim on Triginta Petra was, if you can last 5 seasons, you'll officially know what you're doing. Last 4? Nah, I can't say that. Can't make that claim yet. Preliminary scans of Triginta Petra suggest that the Reapers judged its population too low to harvest and struck its colonies with kinetic impactors. They then moved on, trusting that the destruction of the food supply's main arteries would finish off the inhabitants of such a biota-poor world. It might be right. This is first time in a very long time we've actually seen the population number for these planets, even when we've heard that there are theoretically people there. So 35,500 is not that much. Fortunately, I suppose there's not that many people who got targeted by the Reapers. Then again, it's based on the description we read here. That might be why the Reapers did not spend much time going after them. Then we have Laconix. Laconix is far enough from its F-class star that its temperatures are almost tolerable to sapient life, but its extremely thin atmosphere makes it almost as hostile as a vacuum. As such, the planet was uninhabited. Mining drones, piloted from orbital stations, would brave the high gravity to extract iridium, osmium, and other valuable heavy metals. The Reapers did not overlook Laconix in their sweep of the system, and the orbital stations are now destroyed. Okay, so last time we saw we could scan to our heart's content. I am kind of curious if that's the case here as well.
I found something.
Oh, no, it is very much not the case anymore. So there is something at Triginta Petra, and that something may be either telling us that this is not the place, maybe it is the place, but basically confirmation as to whether it is the location we're looking for, or alternatively might be a war asset. It's a war asset, Dextro Rations. Helping out our Turian and Quarian friends. Okay. We have reason to suspect, so if we're theorizing that that means that the next place here could potentially be the location in which we'd expect to find the Leviathan, what's more likely, that we would theoretically be interested in finding it here, on Troitatics, or here on Laconix? Said this is almost tolerable. Makes me think we might want to scan here, although, I mean, that bar is just under halfway full, so we might have one more safe scan, and then the next one after that would trigger the Reaper attention. And in terms of where Reapers are spawning in, let's just take a quick look here. Either from this bottom left side or top right. What I'm wondering is, do we scan you, and then if that comes up negative, if the Reapers don't invade, we might still have time to scan this and then start out this way where there aren't any Reapers? That's kind of my plan. I think let's save before we do that, because that could potentially go horribly wrong. Because that comes up empty. This does not. But the Reapers are definitely going to invade after this. So let's at least confirm as whether this is or is not our spot. Search unsuccessful. Scans the planet surface show no evidence. Okay, let's go. Let's go because I'm not sure. The fact that the sound effect triggered as soon as we started reading that made me think that perhaps on that one occasion, maybe the Reapers actually were directly attacking us, when normally they do not show up when you're reading the planet descriptions. It looked like they were not actually spawning in and chasing us down, but if they were, then that would have been a nasty surprise. Okay, so that means that it must be in the last system here, the one that we've not yet checked. My question now is, with 661 fuel, do we have enough to get there? When it is, I think the one that is just barely out of sight here. Well, you can see the edge on the right part of the screen. I think we go for it. I think we can make it. Yeah, we'll make it. Side toff it. There we are.